All right. So where's my? Will that hold up? I doubt that'll hold up. There's no way that'll hold up. If it does, I'd be surprised. This might though. This might hold up. Yes, Kilgreen's fat ass right here. I got Wendy's. I got Asiago Chicken Club right here. And Wendy's Chili, the famous Wendy's Chili. Healthy eating. Low calorie eating. Okay. Yes, sir. Haven't had it in a while. Been like a year and a half. So I've had Wendy's chili. Bro. I'm going to do a little something extra to this, though. It's called Tex Pete. I'm going to put that in the Wendy's chili. Hell yes. Give a little kick. Now this, I bet you they probably still put the cheese on it. No, they didn't. They did the right thing. Asiago Chicken Ranch Club. Oh, nice fresh Coca-Cola. Let's dip the sandwich in some of the chili. See what Tucker has to say.
Tonight, one of the weirdest features of modern life has got to be how we've all been trained to ignore the things that really matter. You might have wondered, to pick one among so many examples, why hundreds of thousands of your fellow Americans seem to be living in squalor on the sidewalk. How'd that happen? These are the so-called homeless. Drugs have destroyed their lives. So where'd those drugs come from exactly, and why is no one asking? And speaking of chemicals, men in America seem very different from what they used to be. Anyone over 40 knows this. The changes are dramatic. You can't help but notice. Could those changes have something to do with the unprecedented drop in testosterone levels that scientists have measured repeatedly? And by the way, if that's happening, why is it happening? And so on. There's so many questions like this, but we rarely talk about any of them. Instead, we're told repeatedly to avert our gaze from the obvious and turn instead to CNN's latest fixation. Whether it's a Chinese flu virus or George Floyd or some forgettable border dispute in eastern Ukraine. These are the issues they tell us we must care about. But they're wrong. These are not the most important issues. They're just news stories. The only remarkable thing about them is our willingness to believe they're more important than, say, Americans living outdoors on the sidewalk, or whether or not our own children get married. There's something a little scary about watching this happen. It's like an entire population transfixed by issues that ultimately don't really matter. How's it going to work out? Well, over time, probably not very well. Reality always reasserts itself. Twitter can ban all the thought criminals it wants, but in the end, Twitter is not in charge of the future. Nature is in charge of the future. If you want your country to continue, you have to answer nature's imperatives, which are the basics. Do you have enough water? Do you have a reliable food supply? Can you defend yourself from invaders? What are you using for energy? How are you producing things and keeping warm? Those are the essential questions that any civilization must ask. Those and one other. How many people do you want living in your country? The size of your population matters very much. The size determines a nation's character. It often determines its fate. Yet we don't talk much about the size of our population. We probably should. The United States is growing faster than most Americans understand. If you were born in 1969, as some of us were, you arrived in a country with a little over 200 million people in it. There are now 334 million people in it. That's an awful lot of new people in an awfully short time. How many people is that exactly? Well, it's nearly twice the population of the entire western United States. That's 13 states, including California. That is massive and incredibly rapid demographic growth. And it's accelerating. Immigration is now at the highest level ever recorded in American history. So is the number of foreign-born already living here. Over just the last year, roughly 2 million people from the third world came across our borders illegally. All of them arrived with the blessing of the White House.
Talking